Good day, everybody. This is Michael Liveris from JurisQ.com with divorce attorney Marina Shepelsky. Marina, welcome back.
Hi, everyone. Glad to be here.
Thank you. Marina, let's talk about custody, child custody, filing for it. What can you expect when you're going through a divorce? What are the rights and responsibilities of each now ex-spouse when filing for child custody?
So let me tell you that sometimes people who are not married and never were married have custody issues.
That's
So
a good
let's
point.
begin from them, and then we'll go to the divorce, because
Makes
that's
sense.
also frequent, obviously very frequent situation where custody comes up. If you never married, then there's no discussion of equitable distribution, dividing up your property, alimony. But there's always going to be the questions of the children, right? So
Right.
a lot of couples choose not to marry, but they live together, they cohabit, and they have kids together, right?
Mhm.
If you do separate and you decide to go your different ways, the children remain. So you got to work it out. You have to work out some sort of an arrangement and think about what you are interested in doing with your kids, even if you're no longer together, right? Sometimes people can agree, sometimes they cannot agree. Of course, the right court for this would be family court.
Okay.
It doesn't even go to Supreme because there was no marriage. If there was no marriage in New York, it will remain in family court. And
Is it easier to litigate matters in family court than Supreme Court?
It depends. I don't think it's easier. It's just different. It's like a different
Okay.
type of a case.
Got it. Okay.
Family court, the only advantage in family court is if there is a need for a guardian for the children, that's usually free. It's provided by family court at their expense, and there's a special organization that provides these attorneys. If this goes to Supreme, in Supreme, the parents pay based on their income.
Got it.
And that's actually expensive. You know, it's an expensive.
So you should always try to
it's
file.
An attorney who's involved and billed by hours.
So always try to file, I guess, in the family court to avoid that expense.
Again, if you were never married, you have no choice. You have to go to family court. There's two types of custody. There's legal custody and there's residential custody.
Okay.
In family court, you start a case by filing a petition for custody.
Mm-hmm.
Nowadays, you do it online. There's an online filing system. You fill out the paperwork and you say, I am filing a petition for custody because I'm a biological parent of such and such child. You have to provide social address. The other parent is so-and-so, a name, address, and you say, what do you ask for, right? You are asking for either full legal and full legal and residential custody, meaning you are the one parent who wants to hold all the reins here, all the powers. Or you can always ask for joint if you are so inclined, if you think that the other parent deserves to be a joint parent in the situation. Legal custody means you're asking the court to name you as the only person, if you're asking for sole custody, who's going to make all the legal decisions for your child, like enrolling in school, like medical decisions, like life support, and so on.
Marina, why can't you ask for both to decide? What happens if you want to both be involved in a child's education? Can you do it joint?
You can. And some people say, okay, even if I'm getting divorced, I like my former partner. They're a good person. Maybe it didn't work out, but I think they're a good parent. So I'm going to ask the court for joint legal custody. That means you both have to agree about the decisions. And sometimes people say, okay, you know what? We are going to plan for the event. We cannot agree. In that case, sometimes people agree to go to like an independent psychologist, child psychologist, or social worker to make the final decision. Or they'll agree that mom, mother, or father, it depends, makes the final decision. So you could have joint legal custody, but one parent has the final decision-making power. That's doable. Then the residential custody. You say in your petition, I'm asking for sole residential custody. Because you say, okay, I want the child to live with me. The other parent can visit, but the child is going to live, reside, have a permanent place and a permanent address with me. So this will go into the court system. The petition gets uploaded. The court is going to ask you to serve this petition. They're going to ask you to give the papers personally to the other parent. There's going to be a court date. So they have to come back with their answer to your petition. And maybe they'll file a cross petition, because that's what happens sometimes. They'll say, oh, no, I am the one who wants sole custody. I'm asking for full custody of this child. She doesn't deserve residential custody. She doesn't deserve full legal custody. I want joint, or I want sole. Like, I want everything. And then we have like two parallel cases. There's a court date where both cases will get scheduled. Both sides have to serve each other through a process server, through the procedure, official procedure. Serving meaning the person has to receive the papers physically in person. Not good enough to like nail it on the door or mail it to them. And there's going to be a court date where each side gets to present their side. There's going to be a few preliminary hearings, and then there's a trial where each side gets to present their case, their witnesses, their paperwork, and give testimony, meaning they'll speak to the judge directly at the trial and explain why they're deserving of whatever it is they put in their petition. And
not the attorney, they have to speak themselves, or attorney can speak for them?
The attorney speaks for them to a degree, but the attorney will get to ask them questions. It's called direct examination. And then the other side and his attorney can cross-examine. They can ask them. If you're watching the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial, you now understand about hearsay and objections and direct and leading questions and cross-examinations. First year law school stuff. And so that's it. So you go to court, you file your petition, you have hearings. A lot of times the court will appoint a guardian for the children, an attorney for the children, somebody separate who's going to say to the court, they give a report. They say, I interviewed my clients, his clients being your kids, okay? That attorney's clients are your children. It's the attorney for the children, or the legal guardian sometimes. Sometimes the court says, not only I'm going to appoint a legal guardian, there should be a social worker who makes home visits, determines if your home is good enough for custody, and so on. Each of these people will give a report to everyone, and the court will listen to them, and they will follow whatever is recommended by the legal guardian or by the social worker. Sometimes people get really upset. Why does somebody else have to be involved? That's how it works, because neither parent, frankly, is objective. And the courts want fairness. They want something reasonable and fair. And they think that, but it's funny, when the kids are really small, I remember that this one case I had twins, these twin boys, and they were 3 years old. So when the attorney for the children met with them, they couldn't say a word. And one of them peed himself, and it was like a disaster and an upheaval in the office. And he tried to ask them if daddy hits them or if mommy mistreats them. The kids couldn't say anything. And usually that happens for young kids. But if they're older, if they're a teenager, if they're 11 or 10 years old, they say a lot sometimes to the attorney for the children. Their lawyer sometimes reports, wait, let me just tell you. He said, the son said that dad's new wife hit him this weekend. The son says that the dad also like abuses him, doesn't let him play basketball. All kinds of things come out. And parents are always shocked that the kid told this to the attorney for the children, because sometimes they coach them and tell them not to say anything bad. But they still do, because they're kids.
Marina, but if somebody is of that young age, as 3, can there be a child psychologist in the room to help with the process?
Sometimes it depends how contested. It depends. Sometimes, sometimes the social worker's there, but most of the time, like one parent brings the kids to the child's attorney, the attorney for the children, and they interview them. Social workers usually come to the house. They observe the kids at home playing. They look at the house. So the things that the social worker, ACS, wants to see, right? Number 1, the child has his own bed. Number 2, there's basics in the fridge: eggs, milk, bread. Number 3, window has guards. Young people,
Mhm.
young children should not be able to jump out
Sure.
the window. If you're in a
Safe
building,
environment.
especially in New York City, you need to have window guards. And if you don't have them, you write a letter to the landlord, make a copy for ACS that you
Mhm.
requested it. You can request it for free.
Got it.
Finally, they want to see that you clothe the children properly for the season and the occasion. Like
Okay.
if it's a winter and you're trying to take your kid outside in a diaper and a short dress, they will question your sanity and ability to be a parent.
Of course.
However, if the mom said, I had one of these cases, the mom said the dad is an alcoholic, he doesn't know what's going on with the kids, he never dresses properly. The social worker visited and the father had a child, this is winter, in like one of those long, onesies, like the winter, like skiing
Okay.
jackets and a
Right.
hat, and had
Okay.
her in the stroller and fed her. Maybe he fed her, like a small burger, but she was already like 3 or 4, so it wasn't like
Mhm.
formula or whatever.
Right.
The social worker said this is fine, like he's gonna learn,
Right.
now that he's gonna have to do this after a divorce on
Mhm.
his own,
Mhm.
and he didn't drink in front of the child, and they had a bed, there's window guards, there's food in the fridge, the kid has her
So
own
they're
bed
being
in a separate
reasonable.
room. Yeah, so they don't look like, they don't say, like I had one client that we ended up, breaking up with, who was very unreasonable in the things she expected from us and from the court. And she thought that, the father was a bad father. And some things I agreed with her about, but I explained to her, look, the courts don't look at it like on this small scale. They look at the
Mhm.
large picture. Food, bed, window
And nobody
guards,
is
dressed
perfect. I guess they're
appropriate.
looking at most overall the well-being of a child.
Yeah,
The child is not being neglected or abused. And like you
right.
said, if a father didn't have the experience before because the mother was the primary
Yeah.
caregiver,
Like
he's gonna have to learn.
her complaint was that the child came back hungry from dad and she had to feed him. And then the social worker who was observing the father's visit said the father tried to feed the child didn't want to
Okay.
eat, so he didn't force him,
So
he
it's
didn't
not,
make
yeah,
him eat. So
right.
that's normal parenting,
Got it.
and the mother was saying he's a terrible father, the child goes hungry with him, he doesn't
Mhm.
know how to feed him. And the social worker said, listen, this is appropriate. He had the food, he had a bottle prepared. This is another case, right?
Right.
He didn't want this bottle, so he didn't force him. He only had him for 3 hours.
So everything
After
is
3 hours,
relative.
the mom got him.
Yeah. Okay.
So, yeah. So that's
Marina,
what happens when the parents are not married,
got it.
right?
Mhm.
If the couple was married and you're doing a divorce, this usually goes as part of the entire divorce to the Supreme Court.
Got it.
And it's similar. We file a summons with a complaint where we say the ask. What are you asking for? All the
Mhm.
asks.
Mhm.
The mom files or the dad files and says, I want a divorce. I want to pay child support. I want to have custody. I want to have alimony set up. I want to have property distribution. But for custody, this is what I want. For visitation, this is what I want. And again, if it's really contested, if there's like allegations of abuse, molestation, if there's difficult stuff, for sure the court will appoint an independent attorney, a legal
That makes
guardian.
sense.
The
Yep.
parents will have to share the cost. They bill by the hour. The
Mhm.
attorney meets with the kids. There might be a social worker. If things go really bad, one parent might want to involve a forensic psychologist who will interview both parents and give conclusions. It depends on the case. Most cases end up sometimes fast, sometimes slow, settling, working out custody,
And
working
that's
out
the right way to do it.
visitations. Yes, people fight about it.
Right.
Yes, people disagree. By the way, the worst thing you can do for your divorce or custody is to drag your new girlfriend into your divorce and start
Mhm.
bringing her around the kids when you don't even have a divorce yet. You don't even have an agreement. That is the worst. I've seen this in my practice. When the other side is dragging their new significant other
Yeah,
in
well,
your
that makes it
case,
very
it makes people
very
mad.
like personal, right?
Yeah, it
Very
makes people
kind
angry.
of
They're like, listen, we're
vindictive.
not even divorced yet. The bed is
Yeah.
still warm. And you're
Yeah.
already dragging in your girlfriend. And I had one guy who like brought the girlfriend to the kids' 5-year-olds like kindergarten show. I mean, what a disaster. The mom
Yes,
showed up and
I can,
threw a fit. It happens.
like you
Don't
said,
do it,
that's a
please.
recipe, but that's a recipe for drama. That's something that should stay in a reality show and not in real life.
It happens in real life
Exactly.
every single day.
Marina, thank you very much for your frank answers, wise answers. There's a lot of information to absorb. So if anybody has their particular situation that you want to discuss, call Marina Shepelsky at the bottom. We're going to have of the screen, the phone number, call, schedule appointments. You can get detailed, tailored consultation that's for your particular situation. Marina, thank you very much. And we're going to come back to you with more questions because there's so much to cover in divorce law topics. We appreciate your time. Thank you for tuning in, everybody. Have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.